Hello, everybody. We are zooming back into the Halal Metropolis. This is the second series connecting with Muslims in the Southeast Michigan area and just chatting about how they're coping with and reacting to the COVID-19 pandemic. And today we have Afeefeh Seblini. She is a master's student at the University of Michigan Dearborn, studying human-centered design and engineering with a concentration in user experience. So FIFA, thank you so much for being with us. And how are you doing?
I'm OJ. First of all, thank you so much for having me on here. I've been a long-time admirer of this whole series, and it's very exciting to be here. Second, I'm doing okay. I feel like I'm holding up just as well as the rest of us. I feel like there's definitely been some ups and downs that I've noticed a lot of people have had as well. And given the fact that the pandemic has really hit in a number of different areas, I know I have a lot to be grateful for, and I know that it's been a struggle. So between the two of them, especially being a student, so I really am just happy to be here right now where I'm at. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate your optimism, and I hear you. It's a difficult time for so many people. Take us back to March, when things started to go downhill and courses were abruptly, transitioned into online. Walk us through, what your thoughts were at the time.
Yeah, so as soon as the pandemic hit, I'd actually been working and going to school full time. So the transition between not being able to, like going to school and then not being able to leave the house at all was really hard. It definitely hit me really hard. I know it hit a lot of people hard. And I went into a bit of a depressive episode. There was a lot of Netflix, there was a lot of sleeping. And I think at one point I was really just on the couch and I realized like, wow, I have been doing the same thing for like the past 2 weeks, and it isn't healthy. I feel like my animal brain was just panicking the whole time. And so I was sort of like frozen. And after I recognized that, it was very an incremental process for me to like start doing something every day. I had to like create habits, like good ones, because I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't able to work. School was really hard and it was online, but the assignments, like thank God some of my professors were really nice. I know other people weren't as lucky. The assignments were sort of scaled back a little bit so I could just turn things in, and that in itself was really hard. And just looking at all the panic in the world makes you want to turn inward, you know what I mean? So it definitely was an overwhelming barrage of like information to the point where I just shut down for a bit. So yeah, like I said, I did my best to do all of the things that I needed to, and then after that, I had to get myself a step-by-step back process to be like a functioning human being again. And thank God I've made a recovery however many months later. But I know that it's really taking a toll on a lot of people too. And especially, I feel like, I want to say especially students, but if you look at any area, people who can't find a job, right? That in itself is stressful. People who are working and expected to deliver the same amount of work that they did before the pandemic hit, that's stressful. I feel like it's just everybody's down bad right now. And we're seeing a lot of different mutual aid efforts to help people who are not able to fend for themselves as much as other people who have the privilege of being a little bit more stable, right? I really admire those, and I'm trying my best to participate in all the different areas and movements that are that have like have risen. But it's sort of where I feel like I have to find a balance between what, like my mental health and what I can do for the rest of the world too. And I feel like a lot of people they feel the need to participate in these types of things, and they also feel weighed down by that. And I want everybody to know that it's like the majority of people are struggling with these things. So
Yeah, I mean, I I really appreciate you, being so vulnerable and sharing your challenges with mental health. And many people are going through this. And the important thing is like you said, is, to try to get help. You know, it's really important right now to try to get help. And of course, there are issues with accessibility to that as well, to be addressed. What type of challenges are students facing? Like, what are you facing, or your friends?
So I know that I'm definitely one of the lucky ones. The classes that I'm taking right now, I'm super interested in. And my professors are very nice and understanding. So I know, like I said, a lot of people don't really have that luxury. There's professors that are putting a lot of work and expectations on them. And I know that there are students who are taking more classes than I'm taking. So given the struggle that I'm facing, I feel like other people have it even worse. And I can only imagine how high school students are feeling because they've never had an online class, and now everything's online. And I have a lot of sympathy for all the people in these different struggles. Me personally, I definitely, like, given all my, like, let's say all my daily duties, right? And then the school ones on top, definitely a struggle, I will be honest. And it's funny, I just had a paper due on Sunday, and obviously I had since September to do it, and I finished it on Sunday. But there's improvement, because as opposed to turning it at 11:59, I turned it in like 9 p.m. So I feel like that to me is a win. That's a thank you. It's definitely, as opposed to the other assignments that I've turned in over the semester, I'm like, wow, I could see a marked improvement. It's really heartening for me, because I'm just like, wow, okay, so these past however, like 9 months, I've seen like ups and downs, like a lot of different stuff, and I feel like I'm a little bit more stable now when it comes to doing the things that I need to do and how I feel about them. Because I've always been the kind of procrastinator who really, really, really doesn't want to do the stuff and still gets it done, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, okay, well, some of these things I actually want to do. So that's like, wow, that's so different.
Hey, a victory is a victory, so 9
Yeah.
p.m. is an improvement from midnight.
Mhm.
Oh, I congratulate you on that. What are some things that have helped you along the way? We talked about a garden in our past conversations. I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, so it's funny, when the pandemic first hit, people were kind of panicking and going to the grocery store and buying up all the toilet paper, as you remember. And my instinct was literally just food. I have to grow food. And I'd already been like a gardener, like on the side. It wasn't like my whole being, it wasn't my whole hobby, but I definitely enjoyed it, and I wanted to step it up every year, right? The amount of panic and I feel like just an urgency that the pandemic like shot into my body was, honestly, when I look back, it's kind of crazy, because like my animal instinct was food, right? So it took me a minute, because like I said, not being able to get off the couch, until I was just like, okay, I have to buy seeds. So when people were like venturing out a little bit more into the different places, so like I went to like Home Depot, in English Gardens, and like other different places, I'm just like, okay, my goal is to build a garden. So I built, with the help of my siblings and my mom, I built some garden beds in the backyard. And then my friends gifted me, so my birthday was around May, they gifted me a lot of plants for that. They dropped it off. It was really sweet. And basically through that, I managed to make a pretty comprehensive like garden. Like I had a bunch of different things. Obviously, it wasn't enough to, if there was like, God forbid, something that prevented food from actually getting to the grocery stores and prevented us from getting to the grocery stores, I wouldn't be able to survive off of it. And thank God it didn't need to happen, right? But it was so interesting to me that my instinct was to grow food. And that really made me think about a bunch of different things, because I'm just like, we're so reliant on outside resources to be able to just fuel ourselves, right? And it's not like in this day and age it's necessary that we have to grow food. I just think it's really interesting that we don't know how, and we're really disconnected from where it comes from, and we're really disconnected from the local, I think, food network around us, right? So when we go to grocery stores, we go to Kroger and Greenland and all these different places, and there's a lot of good stuff there, but where does that come from? You know what I mean? And what if there were a natural disaster or some other pandemic that really did like prohibit our capabilities and our ability to go to these places, or for them to get the resources? What would we do, right? So it just made me think about a lot of different things, and how that then led to kind of like if you give a mouse a cookie type of trail. Like, okay, if I can't do food, how am I going to do water? If I can't do water, how am I, you know what I'm saying? So like, I just started doing a ton of research. That was my coping mechanism, by the way. It was Netflix and then research. So I just like dug into all these different, there's really great Twitter accounts, there's blogs, there's obviously I signed up for this one free class on like Idaho University or something like that, probably not Idaho, but just different like agriculture class and permaculture and all this kind of stuff. And I learned a lot about food sovereignty, and I learned a lot about indigenous practices and just land back in general and treating the land, and how they their relationship with food and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like sitting here just absorbing all this information, and I will tell you that is how I coped 100%. And I really want to share this information with people. I feel like it's important for all of us to, if not grow our own food, at least know how, and if not do it ourselves, then be able to have backup for if, you know what I'm saying? Like I said again, God forbid we wouldn't be able to access these things, but just find our like resources, our local resources, and our backup plans. So yeah.
No, I totally agree. I mean, I did some gardening as well, you know, this summer.
Tell me.
Nothing as impressive as your garden. I've seen it on Snapchat. It's incredibly, it's therapeutic. It's a very
good flowers, right?
Flowers and mint,
I love that.
you know, all that good stuff. But I'm gonna thank you so much for connecting with us today, sharing all your wonderful insight, providing all that good information. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm wishing you good health, and we'll see you soon, and we'll see everybody on the next one. Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Bye guys. Salam.